Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and wow do I have a treat for you. 10 years ago, Pandemic came out, designed by Matt Leacock and published by Z-Man Games. Now back then, board games weren't nearly as big as they are now, but even with that being said, it was a staple in the industry, and it really is known for almost creating a genre of games, of the co-op games. It's pretty much what put co-op games on the map, and everything else has been built on top of that. While there's been many different releases of Pandemic, there was a newer one with updated components and art. There's been a lot of standalone spin-off games, lots of expansions. It's its own industry in itself. Well, now it's the 10th year anniversary, and they're launching a 10th anniversary limited edition special game that I just happen to have an early copy of, a production copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show off the components and what this looks like, and also in some cases sort of compare it to the scale of the current Pandemic version, so you can see a little bit of the differences in the comparisons there. So let's check it out, and then I'll see you on the other side to tell you how you can get this. Now here is the front of this amazingly cool medical kit replica that is the box of the game. It also comes with a little sleeve here that you actually slide off to be able to open the box up. Now on the back side, that sleeve actually continues and is actually this whole entire back side here, which again is it's cardboard here, and this actually slides off, but it allows you to, if you're in the store, you kind of look at the marketing information about the game. Now here's looking at the side of the box. It's really cool. It's got this metal handle that comes down. It has these little latches that literally, it literally feels like a medical kit. It's so cool. It also has these that sort of fold out as if you wanted to kind of put some nails or screws into the wall and have this be held up on a wall, hanging for beautiful decorations. And here's a closer look, looking down the side, focusing on that hinge to open the game. Now when that medical kit is open, it actually has foam all the way around the edges, so when it's closed, everything stays nice and tight. Well, here we have the rules, and then we have the board. I'm going to go over all of these components in more detail in just a moment, but here's the insert, where we have some cards that go in different spots, the petri dishes with the cubes, we have some large ID cards, we have some more of the components, and then we have the miniatures all sitting here. So let's start looking at these in more detail. So here's a look at the different character miniatures. Now, on the very left, you see just a pawn. That's what the current standard Pandemic game looks like. They come with just pawns like that. But as you see, the miniatures are really cool looking. Let's take a closer look at these. Now here's an overview of the board. Now, a few things about this is the board is actually about 42% bigger than the standard board. And here you can see the scale if I overlay the standard board right in the middle of this new board. And if I line it up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see there's definitely some more room down here and a lot over here on the side. Now this will give you a closer look of the art style. I think it's very clean, it's easy to read, and it just looks timeless and classic in my opinion. And in the bottom left, we have the Outbreak tracker and the Outbreak wooden token, which is screen printed on both sides, which is a nice touch. In the bottom of the middle of the board, you'll see where you have the nice, huge, chunky wooden bits for cured diseases. And once you cure one, you just put it up here. And if you ever eradicate a disease, you'll flip it over like that. Now, speaking of those diseases, I showed you as I opened the box, there are petri dishes that come with it. They all have covers that keep them nice and safe. But when they're open, you can clearly also see that the tops have the little icons that's for the different diseases. And I put the disease trackers that we were just using here just to show you the scale of all this. And here you can actually see how big those chunky disease tracker bits are and how tall they are. They're actually tall as the petri dish themselves and definitely bigger than the cubes. Now on the bottom right, we have a spot for the player deck and the discard pile. Now this is UV coated, so it has that nice little shine to it. And of course the deck would go just like that. But let's show you the art on the other side of these cards and compare it to some of the ones in the standard version. And here we're looking at the Epidemic card from this new version. As you can see, much like everything here, the art is sort of classic and timeless, where if you look at the standard version here on the left of the Epidemic, you can see the difference. And here we show you what a city card looks like in the player deck in this new version, and to compare it, here is the standard version. And here's what an event card looks like in the play deck in this new version, and this is what it looks like in the standard version. Now in the upper right, we have the infection deck and the counter. Again, this is all UV coated, nice and shiny, and this bit is double-sided as well. And so you'd have the deck here, and they would get revealed right there. So let's take a look at some of the art on these cards. So here's what the infection cards look like in this new classic version. It's kind of cool, it actually has the GPS coordinates of where that city is, and this is what the standard cards look like. Now the player aids you get with your character are these really large ID cards, and they're really cool because the artwork looks nice, but it also has their height, weight, color of hair, color of eyes, other identification data, an identification number, their fingerprints, and it looks really nice. And here's the other 3 characters for those, and it also comes with an extra one that has player aid material only on it, but on the back side of all these, it also has the player aid of what you can do in your turn. And just to show you the scale of how much larger these are than the standard cards, this is the standard one. Again, this one has all this other cool extra information, and it's a lot larger. And the last thing I'll show you are the research stations. They are painted, so they look nice like this. And in the upper left-hand corner of the board, it does walk you through the phases of each round. Well, I hope you liked checking out and seeing all the ins and outs of this limited release 10th anniversary edition. And as I showed, it comes in a really awesome custom metal case, reminiscent of old first aid kits. Comes with those detailed plastic figures that represent each of the character. It has the wooden components that are included as a tribute to the game's first edition, Petri dishes, and large ID cards that provide a more immersive experience, and a larger world map, and all new art with vintage aesthetic just to make this classic game shine. Now, this game will be available pretty much wherever games are sold. Now, the pre-order window is only open through November, so hurry to get your pre-order in now. I've placed the link to that Z-Man pre-order page in the description of this video to check that out. This has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.